Okay, let me see here. So looking at this, all of the documents that they gave you at this symposium,
Yes.
holy moly.
Yes, we
There's
got
like
a
a,
ton of information.
yeah. It seems though that it was more of a, like instructional sort of approach and not necessarily, specifically for diags. Is that what I'm kind
There
of
were
getting?
2 collaboration groups that dealt with, and those are I specifically attended those 2 because of this, how the diags and dyslexia specialists could work together and collaborate. So I attended
Yeah.
those 2, and the second one was labeled for that when you get to the last video, but it was more geared towards parents and how to incorporate parents. I mean, that helped us too, but
Yeah. Yeah. In Garland, do the dyslexia therapists or dyslexia teachers, do they participate in the evaluation process? Do they do any of the evaluating?
yes, they're part of the team, and they do all the dyslexia evaluation, and then they go over all of the testing with the diag. So
Interesting.
that seems
Yeah.
different. I mean, I haven't gotten an
It is.
answer. I've been waiting for Miss Vaughn to get back to me on how we do it and if she does the testing.
She does not. I do all the testing.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I collaborate with her if I'm seeing someone that, looks like they have a profile that would match dyslexia. Then I, kind of bring her in and we talk about the kids' strengths and weaknesses. And do we think that, given all of, the info that we have, would they be a good fit for MTA, or would their needs be better suited in the resource classroom or inclusion or whatever? Because, you're not just only going to get initial referrals for dyslexia. You're going to get kids coming in from out of state that were identified with dyslexia, or you're going to get kids that, there's just a wide variety. So we have to kind of look at all of that. But it would be nice to have the dyslexia therapists be more involved in our evaluation process. But Angie's great.
She is. She's fantastic. And she did the training I attended in McKinney.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Oh, the night where the
Yes,
my brain's not functioning.
I loved that one. It gave me a better idea of what the students are actually going through, and my own child. I felt so bad. I'm like, let me apologize, kid, because they gave us mirrors and had us reflect it to see how it was to write, and they had us use our non-dominant hand. That was a struggle, massive struggle bus there.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Garland, I mean, they actually have a dual certified person that's a diag and a dyslexia person that's over them. So I think that's where a lot of their stuff is coming from. They had a CALT. This lady had like 5 different things after her name. She was very nice. I specifically went to hers on purpose, but she didn't provide a Google Slides for her collaboration, only a couple of handouts. So, and a lot of the stuff was elementary. And they have set meetings every Friday for the team. The eval team doesn't have ARDS on Friday. That's their meeting, and they go over every kid for upcoming ARDS and make their recommendations. It was a very interesting setup.
Is that more like a peer review type of setup where they meet on Fridays to review new evaluations?
Yes, and discuss evaluations they've completed and what they plan on discussing in their upcoming ARD meeting, how they're going to present it to the parents. They make sure everybody has basically the same script before they contact the parents.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm like, I just want to sit and view one of these.
Yeah.
And it seemed relatively new to them too. I think this is their first year of doing it this way. At least the way they spoke sounded like that.
Yeah, it sounds like maybe just the structure of their evaluation team might lend more to opportunities to meet in that sort of way.
It did. They have like a pair on each campus. So your dyslexia specialist and your diag, one per campus, are paired up, and then their speech person. I mean, they have them a little group of 5 or 6 members per eval team. I thought it was cool. I'm like, that's great
That's cool.
funding, but I'm like, I don't think that's reality in other places.
No, not everywhere. Frisco does have the dyslexia people were more involved in the evaluations, but and that could have changed over the last couple of years. But what other questions did you have, like in listening to how Garland does things? What questions do you have about, how that could look different in our district?
Yeah, my main one was, I didn't realize that our dyslexia specialist, and it'll come up on the end of my formal observation, I thought our dyslexia specialists actually were part of the testing. I didn't realize we're so short people, I know, scheduling wise. That lends back to the need for flexibility. I mean, our schedule got changed this week. We would have met on Wednesday. I mean, who would have guessed a storm would knock out our electricity and everything would get moved back?
Yeah.
So
flexibility is the name of the game here.
And I was able to meet with Carrie, and she gave me more information on speech therapists and how they work with the diags and dyslexia. So I got that cleared up. Since my formal, I've answered most of my questions. Just walking around and meeting with people and asking questions. I know your current schedule is really booked. Do we have any testing coming up that I could review or?
Yes, I actually just finished an initial out-of-state evaluation. If you would like to come down and chat with me about it, I'll let you read over it and see what you think.
And then that could be basically our next. We look at it and review it without, we got to keep the privacy and HIPAA stuff. Let's see. The current challenges this week. I mean, I was triple booked yesterday. That was fun and exciting. Yeah. And yesterday's meeting, I wasn't expecting the reaction I got, so.
Yeah, that was, I kind of was. I was trying to be matter of fact, and I was struggling because some of her concerns are more of a gen ed, policy issue, like with the retest. Like that's just how it's structured now, and every kid has the opportunity to retest. Something that they said that was concerning to me was that the student had to miss a couple of practices to go to tutoring, and that
the priorities were skewed a little.
Yes.
So the big issue I saw was we have a lot of parents that don't seem to understand what special ed versus 504 what gen ed is. No. So do you, I know you've probably faced this before. Do you have like a certain recommendation or a script or something that you would kind of
to talk about SDI versus 504?
I'm trying to get, because this was kind of, beforehand when I had prepped the phone call, I had thought we had kind of reached, okay, well, this is special ed and this is 504. And I know this has been going on yearly with this specific child. I thought we kind of had a understanding. So that's why I was surprised yesterday by.
Yeah, well, I think, every situation is different, but I think what the issue is that sometimes we forget that kids are allowed to have strengths and weaknesses outside of a learning disability, and Algebra 2 might not be this kid's jam, And so
attending tutorials may actually not be his jam, but we need to do it.
Yes. And we might have to put extracurricular activities to the side to make sure that we're making progress. And I think what it is that it's not acceptable to parents that he's making a C. And so therefore, he
Yeah.
needs specially
I
designed
went back
instruction.
and checked because I'm planning for when we reconvene.
Hmm.
I'm trying to monitor how much he's actually attending with that specific staff member because it didn't look like from the teacher report that he actually really is attending.
No.
And I'm like, perhaps he's claiming he's attending, but he's not showing up. So I might
Yeah.
have her log it just so we have that record of how often he's coming in.
Yeah, no, that would be great. But I think that is an issue too, is that parents see tutorials as a need for specially designed instruction. And in their mind, it's like, okay, my child must need SPED because they need a little extra help in a subject.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, yeah, and I know it comes from home. It's their perception, and it was, I mean, it was a little difficult considering the parent is also a colleague. So that placed a little extra. And I understand that as having my own child in the district.
Mm-hmm.
We've covered all of that. I definitely need more on eval and looking at that out of state. I know I had a student that just moved out. Another out of state just left and withdrew. So that one, yeah, I'll come down and
Okay.
I got the email from registrar that they withdrew.
Oh, okay.
So,
but what I was going to say one more thing on the other topic when you asked about a script and describing the SDI versus like a 504. And really, I mean, the verbiage that you tend to use, depending on the kid and the situation, is, do they need specially designed instruction that can only be provided through special education to make progress in the general education environment? Do they have to have something, specially designed in order to be successful? And that's really not what we're seeing for that particular student.
no, and they don't have any extra related services or anything, so.
Yeah. But yeah.
I'm assuming no, that was dismissed. We don't have to have her at the next meeting when we reconvene. Is there anything specific that, since I'm the case manager, that we would need for the reconvening, or does all of that come from the DIAG side?
No, I mean, I think it would be great to get the info from the math teacher about, how often, one, is he being requested to come to tutorials, and how often is he actually coming to tutorials.
So,
I am going to do a little bit more research because I have a feeling based on his response that maybe when he comes in, he's already going to have a little bit of the preconceived notion that he's going to not be good at it. You know what I mean? Like that self-fulfilling prophecy. And so I'm trying to think of multiple ways that I can assess.
He has kind of already predetermined it.
Yes.
And that's why I shut my camera off so that we were able to hear you, because he was saying, well, I mean, I'm not going to do it anyway. I'm going to fail it. So we got to work on that self-esteem area too. I need to go talk to him that. And I was surprised that the parents didn't know he didn't have inclusion. They swore. That surprised me. I was like, he hasn't had these services for a couple of years. So I really thought it was a parent understanding disconnect.
I don't think there is a disconnect. I think we're just pushing.
We're just trying really hard to get services.
Yes. And also, no formal evaluation was ever
I went back and searched for that. It's in nothing. I looked.
Yeah, no. I mean, I would have made a note of that, and we wouldn't have waited a year to do something like that. So I don't know where that was coming from, but
I'm glad. I tried to find you at the end of the day yesterday, and I know you had a prior appointment you had to make.
Yeah.
And I had gone through all of his past 3 years. I couldn't find it anywhere that it said.
No.
So I started with last year's, and I just kept going backwards.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I can't find this. He hasn't had inclusion in years. We haven't. I'm like, okay, where's the,
Yeah.
and his prior scores actually lended more towards moving. So they weren't where I expected them to be for needing as much service as they're requesting. Okay. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that was good practice for looking at the data.
Yeah. But also, that was kind of good practice for a difficult-ish situation. I felt like I was kind of fighting the battle all by myself.
I wasn't sorry. I was just trying
No.
I was trying to keep him quiet.
No, I guess I had hoped that admin would have spoken up a little bit more about, our policies and just expectations of all students, not
Yes.
necessarily SPED versus Gen Ed, just all students.
I thought you handled it very well, by the way.
No, thanks.
I'm like, admin support, that was something I picked up on yesterday. I'm like, how do you go in, and I know we met prior to the meeting because we knew it was going to be, we knew they were going to have a reaction. So we had all the support, we had all the data, but how else next time should we approach the admin? Because that wasn't the reaction I expected from our admin.
Yeah, I think prior to the next meeting, I think being a little bit more explicit in how I'd like her to, support or speak up and really ask her to speak on the Gen Ed side, and from that perspective, what the expectation or opportunities for all students to be successful. We'll see what the formal evaluation data says, but the thing is that we're not just banking on one score. And so, and it's not an Algebra 2 test.
No, it's not a specific math issue. It's a part of it is the student's current perspective, because he had
yes, and I think when he's hearing his parents say, he's really struggling, he doesn't understand the content, whatever. I think that's getting to his head.
This is a different child than when I interviewed in December. He was more confident. He's like, I'm going to pass this final. And this is different than what I was seeing in December. So that was why I said yesterday, I'm going to check in more often, because I saw that change.
Yeah.
I was like, no, wait. It's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy that I saw.
Yes.
That they had convinced him of.
I was going to say something else and I forgot what it was. My brain is shot this week.
It's been a stressful week.
It's shot. So, but anyhow, so I think that was good practice just in general for you,
All right. Well, I will come down. It'll probably be lunch. I don't know if you're double booked then, and try and grab the testing and get the information so I can look over it.
So the I guess 504 or an admin is having a meeting in here at noon.
Okay. Would after school be better?
About an hour, yeah. Because we're actually being kicked out of our offices.
Awesome.
Okay. So this meeting can take place.
So I will stop by right after school, because I'm team taught until then.
Okay. Sounds good.
Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.